Peace. What's good? How y'all doing? Welcome to another edition of Walk With Me. I am your host, Zaza Ali. Today is Friday, September 27th, right? 2024. I pray that this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I'm starting off our walk and conversation today, right at Overhill Drive and 59th Street. I actually come to this area a lot. This is Baldwin Hills, Black LA, and there's a lot of significant areas that we're gonna walk past as I take you guys on this journey with me. One of my favorite places out here is obviously Simply Wholesome. Excuse me. I went in there a few minutes ago. I was gonna do a walkthrough in the video, but they're pretty busy and I don't wanna, maybe on the way back if I have enough time I'll walk through just so you guys can get a chance to see the inside of the store. But it is definitely a cultural landmark for Black LA and just for LA period in terms of cultural sovereignty, in terms of health and well-being, in terms of being directly smack dab in the middle of Baldwin Hills and all of the culture and legacy of this area. And let me just say, for all of my beautiful LA family, I'm not from here. I'm born and raised in Oakland, California, but I've been living in LA for 4.5 years now. So if any of my math or my science or my history on this area is not right and exact, I definitely always stand to be corrected. So Simply Wholesome is one of the places that I love to come to, and I love the energy in this environment. And I was thinking, as I was considering doing this video, I've been talking about it on the membership channel for probably a couple of weeks now, maybe even a month, doing it in this area. But then I also have to be mindful of the logistics of walking down a super busy street, and it's Friday, so traffic is always a lot more significant on Fridays for some reason in every major city I go to. I still haven't figured that out yet, but it's a fascinating thing to me. On Fridays, out of nowhere, the number of people on the road just seems to double or quadruple. But so that's Simply Wholesome. I've done a couple of events here. I've had the pleasure of doing a couple of events here, speaking engagements, and I'm working with the sister there now to get ancient people in Simply Wholesome. I used to have my Black Matter series there some years ago, and then some things shifted with the ownership, but that's neither here nor there because I am on Slauson right now. I'm gonna walk down Slauson to all the way down to Crenshaw, and we're gonna walk past the Marathon store. I have to be mindful of my sound and my voice as I'm walking because I know the traffic in the background. I did a test video right before I started this video, and there, as you see, the fire truck coming along just to kind of prove my point. This is, well, I did the video on Hollywood Boulevard. It was kind of similar. So, but yeah, I think it's dope to kind of have the real background, the real energy of the city to complement what you see, and then hopefully complement, me trying to sort of bring the culture and the energy from these different places to the forefront. And eventually I'm going to be doing these videos all around the world. I had that thought earlier as I was like, should I wait till tomorrow until it's a little bit less traffic, maybe around 11 o'clock. It's Saturday. But Spirit said no. I felt like doing it. My energy was in the right space, and there were some things I want to talk to you guys about. So I'll just be mindful if traffic picks up in the background where I'm speaking a little bit louder so you can hear my voice clearly. So we're walking down Slauson right now, heading towards Marathon Clothing Store, and then I'm going to make a left on Crenshaw. I mapped it out. If my math is correct, it should take me approximately 35 to 40 minutes to get to my final destination, which is Taj Mahal Imports, where I purchased my incense from en masse. I love incense. It's kind of something that's engraved in my DNA, I think, to be honest. So I found this beautiful store. It's huge, and they sell incense and a lot of things at wholesale pricing. So very beneficial. As you see this white Benz, wow, look at the synchronicity of that. Hold on, this white Benz just ran this this red light, and literally there was a potential crash, as you guys saw it on camera right there. But I was thinking about, as I was, looking for a place to park my car and figure out where I was going to start. Slauson, on the other end of Slauson, is not on the other end, but in the other direction. About a block away from where we started, next to Simply Wholesome, is where that sister was driving and killed all of those people right here on the street, just back in the other direction. There is this, is it Overhill? No, it's not Overhill. There was a very large street right there, intersection. I can't think of the cross streets, but there's 4 gas stations, very large gas stations on each corner, and I'm 99% sure she drove a white Benz. So I was supposed to start with that, just the remembrance of that, because I was, in the area where maybe I could have showed the footage, the video, pointed the video in a better area of that direction. But it's interesting to see that car just run the red light right there, and remembering, I believe it was 6 people total that died from that accident. So wow, the synchronicity of that. But anyway, one of the things I was thinking about in terms of what I was going to talk about in this video, a couple of things. The first thing is California is so interesting, and Oakland is like this too, where we started out up in that more hillside area. There are very beautiful upper middle class homes, predominantly black, upper middle class black homes, $1 million homes and whatnot. And you walk maybe 5 blocks south or to the east, and then you can be smack dab in the hood or something else, right? And so it's just fascinating, because Oakland is like that. And as I've become a citizen of LA, rightfully so, and properly merged myself into the culture here with love, yeah, I noticed that about LA too. So we're gonna see a little bit. I didn't really walk through the hill area over there because I'm trying to conserve my energy. That last hill that I did in that video in the, oh man, that hill almost took me out, y'all. I swear to God, I've never had a hill humble me like that. And I know it was because I didn't have my water. Like, I know that played a part in it, but still, it humbled me. Like, it really brought me back to, having the proper respect for nature. So anyway, the polarities of wealth in LA, whether it's West Hollywood, whether it's Beverly Hills, and then coming down to, this area around here where obviously we know Nipsey was killed, and we know that this is a central area to his hood, I'll say, as well as other hoods in this area. And so some of this as we take this walk, there's a lot of places in this area that have a very low vibrational, violence prone, how you doing? War zone like mentality, right? But the flip side of that is that these areas and these, communities in Oakland, in Compton, in Watts, in Chicago, in Detroit, in New Orleans, etc. Like, yeah, these are the real makers of global culture. So there's a mass energy harnessing, and feeding on the energy and the creativity of those of us that come from these environments without it ever really coming full circle. How you doing? Without it ever really coming full circle, right? And the flip side of that is that we are very much responsible and culpable, if you will, for the type of messages that we put out, for the type of energy we're putting out into the world to set, I believe, is what I would call a standard for melanated black people all over the world. But we have to stop ourselves and our culture from being perverted, right? Because if we can lead the world in fuckery and in insanity, excuse my language, then we can flip that and lead the world in righteousness and in love. So again, just witnessing, and you guys have seen all the videos I've done in different parts of LA. You can see the contrast in wealth and in, you know, the noise or the sound. I won't say noise, because for some people this is a beautiful, you know, harmony, a beautiful melody. Somebody that just came out here from Tennessee or something that's trying to fulfill their goals and aspirations, and you know, they live in this area and we're able to afford a cheap apartment, or maybe it's not cheap. It's not, nothing's cheap in LA actually. Let me take that back. But find something as a roommate or something that's affordable. This might be heaven. Notice I've been talking about trash, right? And you can see the trash littered amongst the street. We don't see that in more affluent neighborhoods, but we always see it in ours. And again, during election season, the question for me is always, why aren't we picking up the baton and doing these things in our community that we could and should be doing ourselves? And that's not a specific question of only LA, right? I'm here now. Like I said, I'm a citizen here now, so I'm immersed in what's happening here politically and culturally and etc. But I started this conversation a few weeks ago on Headline News talking about the trash in Oakland. Let me position my hand here. I think I'm probably going to end up putting this video on YouTube just because I've talked about the Nipsey store several times. And so because I talked about it, I think the onus is on me to make sure that I show what it is now, opposed to when I had something to say about it, right? Where was I? It's getting warm. I feel like the temperature has increased within the past. I know what that is, though. That's walking on this concrete. And that heat is reflecting back on the concrete. And I can feel the heat bouncing off of it. Oh, the trash. Okay. Back on track. How did I get back on track? Because I saw trash. I have a real serious, littering is a real serious pet peeve for me. Like, it is one of the most simple things that we could not do, and we seem to not be able to not do it, and it's just frustrating to me. But this started out with me looking at a news report in Oakland with these major heaps of trash and children having to walk past this trash to get to school. And like, yeah, I get it. Hold politicians accountable. I get it. Hold the government and the city council people, you know, and people who were getting our tax dollars, hold them accountable. But we need to hold ourselves accountable too. There's no way that we should have communities with high functioning, physically fit young men and women who are able-minded and bodied. So I'm walking past this trash just to make the point, that can't go out in their own neighborhoods and communities and clean them up. I just can't accept that, you know? And especially when you understand the mental and emotional ramifications of being in beautiful environments, i.e., this other thing I was gonna say about the heat, the lack of trees, right? The trees cool the conditions in the communities and in the streets and whatnot. And so you have, a lot of us grow up in concrete jungles, or what we call concrete jungles, right? So, coming back to my point, taking the initiative as we get through the chaos of this election cycle, which I only think is going to get crazier. I have a very strong inclination that there are going to be several more unbelievable, out of this worldly type of happenings and circumstances, I'll say that, within these next coming months, directly and indirectly connected to this upcoming election. Shit's about to get wild. It's already gotten wild, actually. I just think that we're so inundated with 24-hour news cycles, and everybody's so discombobulated trying to maintain some sort of balance and sanity in the midst of all of this chaos. You see the palm trees. This is my first time actually walking down Slauson right here. I usually drive down this street, but it's always been so fascinating how, even in Oakland, because I'm in love with palm trees, so you have to pardon my bias, but how there could be such high levels of violence and anger in areas where God is sending us nods and reminders of how beautiful and plentiful the world is. Yeah, so I love palm trees, so it's interesting for me to be walking past these. I always, just like when I pull up at the beach, I always have a moment where my heart just starts singing. And then I always have a moment where I don't want to leave, but I have to. Taking responsibility and accountability for our own communities. And it's like, as I've said many times before, we've been inundated with the idea of, how y'all doing? Inundated with the idea of, I won't even say the idea because it hasn't even been, I don't think it's been a conscientious thing. It's just been what we've been doing, trying to build institutions and organizations on the backs of broken people. And it's not proving to be successful. So the other conversation that I was having recently that I think is relative to all of this, I think we're getting ready to pull up. Are we out? Well, I can't even tell how far we are. No, actually we're not. I think we're about 3 or 4 blocks away. Major city blocks. The other thing, I was having a conversation with my client last night. She'll probably be listening to this. And I was correlating something that she was experiencing with some recent conversations that I had had with a good friend. And those conversations were centered around relationships and people and experiences and circumstances that mirror our lower nature. And so I'm going to give the example of her experience because I think it simplifies the point I want to make, and then I'll kind of go from there. But she had 2 very extremely different experiences with 2 different men. One of the men that she had been getting to know on some level or another, and she was trying to have a sort of, high upper echelon type conversation with this dude, if you will. And he went into his lower nature and took it into some sexual type energy. And so, how you doing? She was explaining how there would have been a time where she would have engaged that, right? But where she is in her state of consciousness now, it was completely and immediately repulsive. It turned her off, right? And so, mind you, we've been working and she's been growing and evolving, and I've been a witness to it, right? So I've seen this sort of evolution from operating from, not on all levels, not in all spaces, but in some. Thank you. Operating from your lower nature or your lower self, and then mirroring experiences in the world that reflect that. So she's telling me about that experience first. And then she's also talking about her self-accountability, awareness, being mindful of how she's thinking and feeling, leaning heavy into the divine feminine energy, right? And so she started talking about another completely different experience. By the way, I love the feedback that you guys give me for these videos, because I'm hoping that they're coming across on camera the way they come across when I experience them in real time. So your feedback always means a lot to me. Like I said, very soon I plan on doing these type of videos in different parts of the world, different parts of America and different parts of the world. So she had a completely different experience with another brother who was just taking time to talk to her. There was no, potential romantic relationship or anything of that nature. But they knew each other, and he was just taking time to pour into her in a moment where she really needed somebody to pour into her, right? With scriptures, with, his wisdom, with his perspective as a man and the male-female dichotomy and whatnot. And it really brought the point home about things that mirror our lower nature versus our higher nature, right? Because those are two perfect examples of how that manifests in real time. But the key to the whole situation is, what are you radiating? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? What are your expectations as you're navigating the sometimes crazy, chaotic, unfair, unjust conditions of this world, and then hopefully more times than not, navigating the beauty and the love and the abundance in this world, which is still all around us, because somebody in this area is definitely experiencing poverty on some level and victim consciousness on some level. But then there is also extreme abundance in these same environments. And we saw that with Simply Wholesome. And we're going to see that when we walk past Nip's store, which seems to be on a rebound in one way or another. You can see the green crosses here for weed dispensary, which seems to be on every other block in LA. It's like super, super, super part of the culture now. It's abundance all around. So what separates the man with the how you doing? Poor, thank you. That's dope. How y'all doing? I'm just looking at the art. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on blast. My bad. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good, thank you. To remember I got a camera in my hand and where I'm at. Okay, so the lash trap. It looks like somebody is over here doing big things, getting lashes done. Oh my God, that's so funny. And see, that's the other thing. It's like it's an unwritten code in these type of environments. You can tell a lot about a person, what they thinking and feeling based on their facial expressions and body language. And I thought about that when I was thinking about doing this video. Just like when I go back home to Oakland, I'm going to do one and sort of showcase where I'm from and certain experiences growing up there, but which is a totally different city now. That's a whole different conversation, because every time I go back home, my heart gets broke. That's another conversation though. So the mirroring aspect, right? And that being a perfect example of the level of intentional self-awareness that it's going to take for us right now on a day-to-day basis, right? To not be victims of the energy and the state of consciousness of the masses. To not be victims of going with the flow. To not be victims of herd mentality. Everything that you see happening right now with the election is reflecting, how you doing? Herd mentality. So I say everything. I know there are some people who are, I don't want to, paint too much with a broad brush, because there's still some people out here that are sort of watching the game go down and semi-participating, but know what's really up. But still, herd mentality is the law of the land in the land of the blind, where in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. I think the political election right now between Kamala Harris and Trump, and Mr. MIA, seen on occasion Joe Biden, is a perfect reflection of that. So the people with two eyes, we ain't falling for none of this. It's real in the field out here. Like you can see when you come in America, and this is another reason why I want to start doing these videos, because continue, and probably make a little bit more public, beyond my membership channel, especially when I'm in the inner cities, because I saw a post from, I'm going to get back to the Mirror, so don't let me forget that, y'all. Put an earmark in that, because that's the sort of the larger point that I want to make. We mirroring our environments and the cultures that we grew up in. But what was I saying? The election, herd mentality. Damn, I forgot my thought that quick. How you doing? How you doing? See, I always love to see construction taking place. It's a beautiful sign of growth and development. If I can, I appreciate it and love it when I see it in the Beverly Hills, and I can definitely appreciate it and love it here. Like I said, there's abundance everywhere. Organic vegan grocery. You're gonna have to come by here one day. I said, put a pin in the Mirror discussion. There was something that I wanted to say. I hate when I do that. This is why when I do videos, I always have a pen and piece of paper. Because I'll have like 5 thoughts jumping off in my mind at one time. And I don't want to forget any of them. How you doing? Okay, so we're getting ready to come up on Nip's store in just a second here anyway. So you see, I'm just walking past trash in the streets. Like it's, this is one little thing that we could and should be doing to better ourselves and better our community, where our children can grow up in environments where they have pride, I think I was talking about beautifying something. I'm pretty sure that's what I was talking about. It'll come back to me. It got warm out here, and you can see the traffic is, as the day progresses, it's going to get more intense. But I think that's, Slauson Donuts right there. I think that's an important part of you guys walking with me and having this experience. I've never walked down Slauson before, but it's a lot of culture in this area. It's a lot of potential in these areas. And it smells good, and barbecue smells good. I don't even eat meat. I don't even miss meat. I'm doing my best to try to remember what it was that I was saying, because I promise you it was something that needed to be said. Anyway, that's a check cashing place right there. We're walking up on Crenshaw, where Nip's brother was talking about. They used to have their table out there selling t-shirts and socks and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I posted that video on the membership channel. So this is the store right here, and they have definitely beautified the store, and you can tell it's getting ready to open, hopefully sooner than later. Still got a gate around it, but Neighborhood Nip Foundation, Marathon Clothing Store. So I couldn't even see this before. So I don't know if they're going to reopen it. I know they were talking about having low-income housing, having marketplaces at the bottom like they have now, and then building up for low-income housing for the area. I don't even know. In my mind, I was just thinking I'm gonna walk over here and get footage of this art. But look at how they got this all I mean, obviously, representing Nipsey is important and beautiful, but just see how they blocked off the alleyway here, because I'm sure people were coming here and taking pictures and just kind of taking in his energy and his memory. I just feel like it should be, it looks like things are moving forward. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? But it does feel like it should be some extra love and care put into honoring this man who is most definitely a king in this environment. For the sake of honoring him, how you doing, Queen? For the sake of honoring him, yes, but then also to keep the morale and the vibration of the people in this area high. So we're on Crenshaw and Slauson now. Now, I remember when Nip first died, people were doing videos. I'm not going to say no names, but they were standing right in this area and talking about how, because they were building this rail station here, that they were going to try to take Nip's spot, as well as a lot of local businesses over here, and shut them down by eminent domain or whatnot. And that doesn't seem to be the case at all. And that was supposed to be lending to, the conspiracy or the narrative that the government took Nip out, which I just was so irritated by the fact that just started trending so fast without us even having any real significant evidence. Like, in about 2 hours, this area, which is, as you can see, a major intersection, is going to be super, super packed with traffic. So I thought I timed it out right, but again, it's Friday. All bets are off on Fridays. I'm still trying to bring that thought back. Okay, so I'm not even going to try to compete with this brother's, with his motorcycle. You hear him. Okay, so maybe the thought will come back to me. I was really trying to research the crevices of my mind, but I want to go back to the point about mirroring. As soon as I get past this your boy. The concept of mirrors in our relationships, in our experiences, in our lives. I don't know why I'm standing here waiting for this light, because I'm not in my normal, it's interesting, I'm not in the normal frame of reference I would have been across the street, but because I'm doing the video, I'm mindful of totally different things. That's really fascinating. So the idea of coming from the inner city communities, let's say urban areas, and mirroring the experience in those environments, whether it's, victim lack-based consciousness, which usually is par for the course, right? Let's see, what's the gas? What's the gas where you guys are at? This is actually low. It's in the 5s in certain areas of Beverly Hills and Hollywood. Okay, so, thank you. The mirror effect. Coming from certain environments and then radiating that energy, hopelessness or restlessness or lack of creativity. This is super pretty. I'm gonna walk past this whole thing. The Olmec's gonna be in my volume too. How you doing? That is the other reason why I didn't want to do this, because, yeah. Anyway, I hope I can go out this way. I think I can, though. Yeah, I can't. What was I saying? Mirrors. Coming from these environments, and oh, okay, I'm back on track now. So when we talk about the Kabbalion, when we talk about, and the passage within the Kabbalion that talks about the further you are from the center, the more in bondage you are. The closer you are to the center, the freer you become, right? So in these type of environments, when you grow up in the hood, when you grow up in urban areas, it's harder to connect with the light. It's more difficult, right, when the circumstances are more extreme. And so I know that for those of us that are able to transmute the difficulty of these circumstances, and now I'm talking about specifically our people in America, and much love to especially my members in the UK and around the world. And I'm very happy to be able to give you guys a different sort of insight and glimpse into American culture, Black American culture. Oh, this was the point. Oh, thank you, God. Okay. Oh, I wish I had a pen and a notepad to stay on track, but Chaka Bars put up a post. Okay, finally, I remember Chaka Bars put, you see how much is going on in this area. I have to be on a different level of my P's and Q's, so to speak. Chaka Bars put up a post and said, yeah, all of that is basically talking about all the energy that the Diddy situation was getting, and how it would be nice if people were that interested or invested in and that focused on what's happening in places like Sudan and Congo, right? And on a certain level, I agree with him. And on a certain level, I know that it is incumbent upon us, the righteous ones, if you will, not just in America, but around the world. It is incumbent upon us to really contextualize what's going on in the world and not hide from it and not run from it, right? Which a lot of us are doing. So I feel like he's playing his position. How you doing, King? I feel like he's playing his position as well as many of us are. And so I agree with him on those points and to that end. The thing that frustrates me, though, is there's this ongoing, and I've been talking about this ongoing sort of dumbing down of American culture, the perception of American culture, right? Trump played his position in that. And I'm no disrespect to you Trump followers, but if you don't know that he, added to America sort of becoming the laughing stock of the world, then how you doing? We need to have good, thank you. Different conversation. So this is Taj Mahal Imports. This is where I get all of my incense from. I so love this place. How you doing? I'm gonna do a quick walkthrough. Smells good. So I'm gonna be quiet now. Just put a pin in that thought about the Chaka Bars post. Smells really good in here. I'm gonna go back to my car and then come back and get some incense because I am completely out of stock. But if you love incense, oh my God, this is your spot. And the pricing, stop it. What is that, beeswax? You hear the music, it's a whole vibe in here. How you doing? Okay, so I'm definitely coming back here. How you doing? Good. Oils. Got a bunch of Qurans and books on Islam, etc., etc. I love the smell. Got a real thing for incense, you guys. Okay, so that's Taj Mahal Imports right here on Crenshaw in LA. Interested in getting your plug? This is definitely, how you doing? Definitely the place. Okay, so back to the chocolate bars post. Okay, so I'm kind of walking against the wind here now. I think I'm gonna cross the street right here and maybe walk one of these back streets to get back to Slauson. So I'm not speaking against the wind right now, or speaking against the wind like I am right now. So the thing that frustrates me is that there's this overwhelming agenda, and the world has sort of caught on to this hook, line, and sink, and you can tell by some of the stuff that is said, even by black people in, from other nations of African descent, or the melanated people around the world. There's been an ongoing agenda to make Americans look dumb and uninformed and materialistic, and we all want to be rappers or basketball players or thoughts, and so with that agenda has come this idea that we are all a monolithic people, and that there aren't a lot of well-informed, well-read, people who are aware of what's happening in the world, and that are playing their position to sort of subvert this agenda, even if it's just through their own consciousness and awareness. So Trump played his position. Biden definitely played his position. Kamala's playing her position very well. I don't know. I see videos of her sometimes, and I'm like, is this AI? Like, this cannot actually be real. She cannot be this sleepy-minded, where all of her answers have to be constructed. And when she's not on script, she's not very clear and concise. I don't know how black people or any people are looking beyond that. And it's not just black people, because trust me, I'm in LA. Her influence here is very strong, not only in black communities, but in affluent white communities as well. But then again, so is Trump's. So, meanwhile, we, Black America, the descendants of this land and or the descendants of slaves, depending on your perspective, most likely both, are in this conundrum right now because spiritually we have been given a role and responsibility in the shaping and molding of the new world. I don't want to get too deep off into that because I'm already at 43 minutes. I know my audience is adept to this type of thinking and understanding. And a lot of us are, which was the point that I was making about trying to, give off this image of American stupidity. So, why is the Diddy situation important right now? Number one, absolutely it's being used as a distraction. There's no doubt about that. In the next headline news episode, I'm going to talk about the UN General Assembly, which is taking place in New York right now, in the background with the World Health, or lack thereof, organization, and the implications of that for things to come. I'm going to talk about that in headline news episode 62. But that's the higher level of the agenda, right? But there's still a level of great importance and a layer of great importance when it comes to black people in America in particular. Hence the Kendrick and Drake experience being centered and shaped around hip hop culture, and Black America being at the forefront of that. Because what is Kendrick if not a pure representation of the original people of these lands. And I'm not just saying that because he's a black man. I'm also saying that because if you really listen to his music, yeah, he knows. Just like they know who we are. We just don't know who we are. And I'm not, listen, you got to qualify for this. We've gotten way too complacent and lazy and just sitting back and talking about the historical and the data and the statistical and historical information in terms of, who are those ones, who are the descendants of those ones, right? That's a physical aspect of the lesson or the circumstances. And then there is a spiritual aspect to the circumstances, right? So, but we get complacent and lazy. I remember, I can't remember which minister it was. It was one of Elijah Muhammad's ministers who said that even long after the messenger had transitioned, that, he was making a metaphor about people still being sitting at their beds with their suitcases waiting for a Messiah, right? And so that waiting, going with the flow, waiting for the government to do for us what we should be doing for ourselves, waiting for the system to do for us what we should be doing for ourselves. And I know there's logistics to this, right? Because we do pay taxes. Everybody in this neighborhood pays taxes. So you're right. There shouldn't be, you're right, meaning the earlier point I was making. There shouldn't be trash in these neighborhoods, in these communities, but there is. We need to build morale. We need wins as a culture. We need, and I think it's interesting now with the Diddy situation because right on the heels, everybody say, why now? Why now? There's multiple levels to why now. First and foremost being when we're on the Titanic and we need entertainment to keep the people calm and to keep them focused in one direction so they don't really see the severity of what's happening all around them, beneath them, in front of them, on the side of them, etc., even on the ship. So I feel like that's the primary goal with the timing of the celebrity cases, whether it's Johnny Depp, Young Thug, Diddy, and all of the remnants that are gonna happen as a result. I'm on the other side, you guys, of Slauson. So Nip's store is on that street right there, but I kind of want to walk down a different path just to give a different vantage point. Because again, you can be in these communities and see trash and see, despair and poverty, but then you can see beautiful homes like this with beautiful yards and whatnot. So it's a lot of levels and layers to the inner city black culture in America. So going back to my point, right on the heels of Kendrick sort of representing light and wisdom and reformation and change. And don't get me wrong, because I'm not all tied up into the celebrity aspect of this. Like, nah, if anything, we are the ones the world has been waiting for. Who is we? The chosen ones. Who are the chosen ones? The ones who choose themselves. The ones who are actively right now, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically fortifying themselves with a clear understanding of the times that we're living in. This is not the time to just be going with the flow and getting caught up in herd mentality. So that's the downfall of what's happening with Diddy, is that most people don't have, many people, maybe I shouldn't say most, don't have the discernment to be able to decipher and watch the show without becoming a part of it. So, right on the heels of Kendrick and Drake running parallel, how can we possibly think that this case, in the timeline of this case, mind you, all this stuff is tying back years and years and years, is that it's coincidental that it's all running parallel with the election while assassination attempts and whatnot are taking place. I was watching somebody earlier and he was saying, what was he? He was making a point about the assassination attempts and how um, they were using that to draw away from basically trying to railroad people into focusing on the Democratic Party. And even what he was saying, I was like, yeah, no, this is just a Hollywood movie playing in the background to keep, one day you want to ride a roller coaster, the next day you want to go to the circus, the next day you want to have a good, engaging thriller movie, the next day we got to focus on a hurricane that's on the way, the next day, right? Everybody's sort of setting up the alley-oop for Jay-Z right now and expecting that he's going to be next. And so the amount of, let me shift my hands here. The energy in the collective consciousness now has turned towards him. And I understand, again, I'm not taking anything away from the importance of paying attention to what's happening in Sudan, paying attention to what's happening in the Congo. But who's paying attention to what's happening here? Who's paying attention to the murder rate in LA, around the world? Our fellow melanated black people around the world. Who's paying attention to the level of drug abuse and promiscuous behavior of our daughters age, I wanted to say 13, but really we should say like age 11 to age 18. Is that not worthy of a pandemic level of interest and concern? Especially now that Cardi B and Megan and Nicki and Lotto and Flexi Red, I can't call her Sexy Red, I'll call her Flexi, with her clown. Oh, I almost said something. Let me just be nice and let you guys take in these beautiful palm trees, okay? Not a cloud in the sky now. I'm thankful for that. I don't know how much further I'm going to walk down, but everybody is pointing a finger at us, whether it's a direct or an indirect thing, because even innately, they know who we are. And I'm not saying that like it's a flex, like, yeah, it's us and not you. Like, no, on a spiritual level, it's all of us. There is no separation. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get back to the one source. But in the meantime, we have to play the game of separation, because we came here to dance and to create and to grow in third dimensional physical reality. So it is truly the one. And the goal here is to find our tribe and find love and find creativity and passion that reconnects us with source energy, the one, which is self. And so the experience over the last 400 plus years, be it slavery and not only what it did to the slaves that they brought here, the people who were already here, but specifically the building and the growth and development of this land. So there's that aspect. There is the native original people who were already here, who suffered a similar yet different level of of oppression and circumstances, right? And then you have all of the different people that have come from all over the world that have contributed added value or taken value from this melting pot. Then you have the blood. You say red, black, and green, right? Red represents what? Okay, so in the scriptures, the references to Babylon, in the scriptures, even the who will make war with the beast, right? And I think we should all be clear on who the beast is at this point. Again, there's a pyramid, and the beast doesn't have to just be the dude sitting at the top of the pyramid. No, he's everything within the pyramid. So multi-layered, multifaceted agenda, timelines, strategies, games, etc. Let me see, I think I'm gonna go back to Slauson now. bring my left hand back into the equation. Satan has come from behind the curtains. They're flexing their muscle. I'm not talking about a him. I'm talking about there. That's why I said pyramid. Dude at the top of the pyramid and all the minions that, including Trump and Kamala, that serve him beneath the surface. Now, yes, we still have to play the game in third dimensional reality. So voting and politics and all of these things are relative to the conditions on the ground. So yeah, just don't get caught up in the circus. And don't forget that you and I and we have the power to completely change this whole thing around, the condition of our planet, the condition of our wildlife and our, plant life and all of the layers of our existence, creation of food, etc. We have the power to change the dichotomy on all of that. And it's only a small few, I don't know what the number is, but I know the statistics, the 85-10-5, which at this point I think is really 85. Let's see. Those numbers got to go somewhere because I want to split that 5% up to 5% of the 5. So that leaves us with 95.5%. So that 95.5% of 5%, am I saying this right? It makes sense in my head. Somebody knows what I'm trying to say. Anyway, actually 5% of the 5% of people on the planet that are aware of the timeline, that are fine-tuning themselves to step into the light during this hour, which is the armor of God, right? Sovereignty of mind, body, and spirit. Isn't that the goal? Shouldn't that be the goal? Shouldn't that be part of the meditation and visualization? Are we even pondering these things right now? Because that's where it starts. There's not one thing that manifested in fruition that didn't start in the mind. Sometimes we're not even asking important questions. So, see how much more noise it is on this street versus the back street? I don't think I'm far from where I'm going anyway. It's interesting too, the noise and the frequency of the inner city, how it can kind of, steer your energy. It just steered me energetically. I was in a space and in a zone with what I was saying, and then I had to come back to the reality of, just being mindful of the noise and the energy and the environment. I think it's a hell of a thing to ponder and consider. I'm going to go back up this other street. I like the sound in the back streets. It's more my vibe. Plus the palm trees. How can you ever get enough of the palm trees? Again, this is upper middle class Black LA all throughout these streets. And then, not far from here is definitely some smoke, some gang type energy. So it's just the polarities, just like the strong polarities of where the mountains meet the beach. I'm going to do another video in Malibu Beach. I feel like I didn't properly represent it right because they were spraying chemtrails that day. So it wasn't the full vibe I wanted to give. So I'm going to do another one in Malibu. Did I say Manhattan? I'm in Malibu. So I got y'all. Make sure we, get the full vibe of the beauty of that area because it is stunning. It's about 35 minutes from me with no traffic. Setting goals of self-sovereignty. Okay, so now let's put a pin in that. Let's go back to the mirror concept. Looking at the relationships, patterns in relationships, experiences with friends, the ups and downs of family. Don't these look like the houses from Boys in the Hood? Or what's the show, Snowfall? Yeah. Acknowledging, or even I should say pondering, Is this relationship a reflection and this experience a reflection of my higher self or my lower self, right? Is this mirroring, talking about going back to the word triggering, right? Being connected to someone or an experiencing that is triggering you back to an unhealthy place. So that experience and that circumstance, in my opinion, in the conversation that me and my friend were having, is a great example of, because we say our relationships are a mirror of who we are, right? Yeah, exactly. But is it mirroring your lower nature or is it mirroring your higher self? Because sometimes we stay tethered to things because we think there's still something to learn, or this is here because I'm supposed to grow from this, et cetera, et cetera. I'm at an hour and okay, I'm at an hour. And it's always that. Always that, right? I think the point that I just want to make is, in terms of the things that we're attached to or holding on to or trying to figure out or trying to make work or stuck in terms of decisions, a good litmus test, to consider is this experience or this person mirroring my higher self or my lower self? Because love without, just let this guy go past because there's no stop sign right here and I don't want to get hit. Love being the ability or the intention to nurture someone or something, maybe I'll say, to its highest and best good, right? And there's a bunch of other ways to express or explain love, but I think that's a great way. And so, is this experience with this person or this partnership or this current circumstance that you or I are experiencing, is this reflecting my lower nature, meaning triggering me to make me feel less than, or self-hate, or victim-based consciousness, lack-based consciousness, right? Questioning my self-worth? Or is this experience mirroring my higher self, which I know my inner being is always working and striving to help me to experience and to feel and to know and to radiate and to embody love? Starting to ask those type of questions of ourselves, and even in our day-to-day conversation. And for me, this is critical right now with so much noise in the world. Is this thought process, how I'm thinking about this and how I'm feeling about this, is this aiding me in who I desire to become and the experiences that I'm seeking to manifest in my life? Or is this keeping it further away? And that's an exercise in itself, to stay on that, to stay focused on that. It's hard enough for the average person just to stay focused on, any particular thing 100%, like reading or do-it-yourself project or pouring your time and attention into something creative, something that you love. How many of us do that? Well, we're 100% tapped in, pruning the garden, cleaning up the house, working to assist or to serve, in some higher capacity. Trying to figure out where I am now, my bearings. I think I'm not far from Slauson. Not Slauson. I'm not sure if it's Overhill or not, but okay, I'll go back this way now. I've really been pondering that, because I'm the type of person that when I have an experience or a relationship or a connection, my modus operandi is to always look at myself, right? How did I attract this? What did I do to, attract this? And that's the right question to ask. Why am I experiencing this? I thought I was already past this. I thought I already figured this out. Like, those are the right questions to ask. But then the wisdom beyond that, to the point that I was just making in this conversation I was having, which just gave me so many lights went off in my head. Like, yeah, this is a reflection of an aspect of me, but which aspect? Is this my higher self or my lower self? Because the people that are supposed to be in my tribe, my goal is to attract people that radiate or that reflect, to the point, my higher self. And because I give so much, sometimes those sentiments, and my natural position is to be of service. Sometimes I fall short of the wisdom of that understanding. And so putting it in context with the whole mirror aspect, it's like, yeah, this is radiating to you what you don't want to be anymore. Who you don't want to be anymore. And then once you set an intention, once you become mindful of that, right? The light's on now. Setting an intention for, not just to connect with bright people and beautiful people and intelligent people, but to attract people that mirror back to you your highest self, your best qualities. You know how you can pour so much of your goodness out and you never actually see that type of spirit and energy from the people in your cipher? Yeah, that's reflecting the lower self. It is a reflection of you to an extent, an aspect of you. But I think it's beautiful because those are there's a, did I make my point? That meme came back up and I'm like, did I make the point that I wanted to make about, because I'm almost coming full circle on my walk here. Black America, the dumbing down of America, the making the people of the world turn their backs and turn their energy and turn their attention away from us. Where's the levels of empathy and compassion for us and what it takes to survive in this environment? And the fact that I think everybody is pretty clear that there's, you can be anti-America, anti-American government, all of those sentiments. But I think globally, we're all kind of clear that this place is going to play a special role in what's happening over the next 6 years. And I'm saying 6 years because these people have a 2030 marking post, 2030, and they have a 2025 marking post, 2025, right? So the good, the bad, and the ugly, we know is going to play out here. But the beauty of human ingenuity and the power of the righteous and our ability to persevere and to overcome all obstacles and odds placed on our path, which we are currently all being fortified in one way or another, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Yes, I can feel very, very, very strong shifts of energy that's happening within all of us consistently. It's a real thing. Every consultation that I've had over the past, I'll say 3 months, every single person that I've talked to has expressed that same sentiment. Something's happening. Wanting to understand these shifts in energy and in mindset and in consciousness of people in their families and friends and whatnot. So we don't want to mirror back to this world what is currently mirroring. This is why the music plays such a powerful role, because it's mirroring not only to Black America, but to the world, our lower nature. Thank you. It's mirroring back to the world our lower nature in a major way. And our children are getting locked in the frequency. And we're not paying attention to what's really going on. Oh, so back to the point about Diddy and chocolate bars and the posts. It's important for us here, and it's important globally, because you guys around the world, you guys meaning to whom it may concern, are watching what's happening in hip hop culture on phone screens and on television and on laptops. We're actually here living it. So we can see the impact of the female rap industry and what it's doing to our daughters, and how it's representing our daughters, and what it's teaching them about womanhood or lack thereof. The drill rap, the trap music, the rob, steal, kill music. Yeah, we walk those streets. We live in those environments. We face those conditions. So it's all good, whether you're trying to make a point about how dangerous the music is, or whether you're just celebrating the music and wanting to be a part of the culture, which many, if not most people are, especially melanated people around the world. When is the conversation going to be had about what the real on-the-ground conditions of living in this society and how it's affected us and impacted us going to start taking place? When do we become, you rally and put your arms around us and show us love and appreciation and affection for everything that we've been through? Instead of consistently the conversation about the land of milk and honey. Like, I wish people had a better understanding of how much suffering there is that's happening in this country. And I don't want to emphasize that because I'm getting ready to end the video. So again, we are the ones the world has been waiting for. So gotta make sure we're balanced in the message. And the ones that are, again, going back to the point of being fortified, yeah, we've been primed and prepped for this moment. There are certain ones among us, in America in particular, who have been primed and prepped for this moment, and who are consistently priming and prepping themselves for this moment. So it took the conditions of America, it took the conditions of the ghettos, it took the conditions of the prison industrial complex, and all the hundreds of years of inflicting self-hatred and everything that's, sort of sculpted this world to be what it is today, to where it's completely out of control and chaotic to the extent that it is today. It took all of those things to develop a certain temperament within the heart, and a certain level of consciousness and awareness and spiritual fortification. And I think a baseline of harmony and love for nature and humanity in general, because that's what we do as a people in general, naturally. It's really what we do. It's really who we are. It's not what we've been taught to believe, but it's really what we do, and it's really who we are. So the peacekeepers, we have the scientists, we have the priests and priestesses, and I'm emphasizing, priest goes without saying, priestesses, I'm emphasizing, because the world where, any sort of respected religion and spiritual tradition that is not honing in and honoring the divine feminine and allowing women to step in and take their place and to culture and to nurture women being spiritual teachers and spiritual leaders and spiritual reflections, going back to the mirror, going back to another reason why this planet is so off tilt, because that natural role, that organic role that women are supposed to play to keep things balanced has been stripped from us. I'm staying right here because I'm not walking up this hill. But I feel like this is a good place for me to end anyway. I'm going to walk up the hill, but I'm not going to do it while I'm talking to you guys. Those that are striving for excellence, and it doesn't always have to be excellence in terms of production and what you have to show for it. Inner excellence. What is that? What does that mean to you? Inner contemplation, creativity, passion, right? What are we contemplating these things? Perfection in terms of diet, or striving, not perfection, excellence. physical representation in how we take care of our bodies. So maybe you're more mental, maybe you're more spiritual, maybe you're more physical, maybe you're more emotional. Okay, then find something in that vein and master it. Strive to be excellent in it. Strive to ask the questions nobody else is asking. Strive to make sense of it in a way nobody is making sense of it. I want to mirror, I feel like I have a good grasp at this point in my life on who I am at, my authentic self. Now, creating a life and a reality where she can shine the most is my goal right now. And so my relationships, my friendships, my partnerships, my experiences, my travels, my journeys, my trials and tribulations, because that always comes with the process, I want them to reflect my higher self. I want them to reflect love back to me no matter what. No matter, when I'm at my best and when I'm at my worst. And I think that that's a powerful meditation and intention to set. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. Hour and 16 minutes. I always look forward to your feedback and how you guys receive these videos. It's always weird to me because I prefer to stay on track with certain topics or whatnot, and then I end up going all over the place. And yeah, so I've already forgotten most of what I've said in this video. Not forgotten, but I can't replay it right now on the top of my head, but it's all good. I hope it adds value to your day. I hope that it adds value to where you are in your state of consciousness and awareness. And, I hope that it's helping to give us more clarity and more hope. And when I talk sometimes in these videos, I'm literally talking to myself, or I'm saying the things that I say out loud that I don't have a chance to maybe say on wax. So I think that's a beautiful and powerful thing. info@zazaali.com is my contact information. zazaali.com is my website. I'm going to do a $75 annual subscription special this weekend that will accompany this video. So if you like this content and you want to hear all of my Walk With Me videos, which are found on my website, as well as headline news and all of my content, you can get an annual membership this weekend for $75. That broke down to like $6.25 per month, I think. So yeah, I'll post the information for that. And I appreciate you guys for listening, for your time and energy and attention live here from LA. Peace and love.